Hello, this is Chef John from foodwishes.com with Basil, Peach, Black Pepper, Parmesan Cobbler. I know it sounds completely wacky, but it was unbelievably delicious, and you're going to have to go read the blog post where I explain the craziness. But here is how I did it. I started with 2 ramekins. I'm doing this as sort of individual portions. You could even do 4 smaller ones if you wanted, or you could do 1 large cobbler like we demoed before. So I'm going to put some butter in each one, microwave it for just a few seconds till it melts. So that's going to be at the bottom of our little ramekins. And then we're basically going to make the same cobbler batter as you saw in our regular peach cobbler video, which is basically sugar, self-rising flour. All right, we'll talk about that on the blog too. Self-rising flour. I'm going to mix that up. And then we're going to add some cold milk, and we're going to stir that to a perfect batter consistency. Okay, so that would be regular cobbler batter, but we're going to go a little crazy and add some Parmesan cheese and black pepper, believe it or not. So one of the influences for this dessert is the gougere, which we've demoed before, which is like an herb, black pepper, cheese, sort of cream puff dough, basically, which I love. So I'm going to add a little bit of cheese and a little bit of black pepper, stir that in. All right, if anyone's ever had a fruit and cheese Danish, very delicious. So mixing cheese with fruit, not really that crazy. All right, we're going to divide that into our 2 ramekins, just right on top of the butter. Then we're going to turn to our peaches, which are amazing, just so ripe and sweet. These were like the best peaches I had all summer. We're going to add some sugar, some fresh basil. Now, I had a sorbet one time, and that combination of that sweet aromatic basil and the sweet ripe peach was just so beautiful, I decided to include that aspect in this dessert. And a little splash of balsamic vinegar. I'm also going to give this a little splash of water just so it makes a little bit more syrup. All right, we're going to mix that up, and I'm going to let that sit about 10 minutes just so that sugar draws out a little bit of moisture and gives us a little more syrup to work with. So after it sat for a while, I went ahead and I divided my sliced peaches between the 2 ramekins, which was about 5 or 6 slices each, just putting it right on top of that batter in the butter. And like a regular cobbler, that batter's going to cook and come up over the top. All right, I'm going to put those on a baking sheet, and I apologize I did not show the old Tappa Tappa. I feel horrible. All right, we'll do 2 next time. Those are going to go in a preheated 375-degree oven for, well, about 35 minutes for me. All right, it's going to depend on the size of your ramekin and how deep or shallow, if you did 1 large one or 4 small ones. But basically, the top will be browned and crisp, and the peaches will be completely soft, tender, and the syrup will be bubbling enthusiastically around the outside, around the outside, around the outside, and you know it's done. And then you have to do me and the roof of your mouth a big favor and wait till these cool like 20 minutes. Eating it piping hot, not the best idea. You need to let it set up. You need to let it relax so it can provide you with its full enjoyment, which is pretty substantial, let me tell you. This is so tasty. Anyway, let me dig in here. Like I said, that sweet aromatic basil with that ripe fruit, the batter with that Parmesan forms a really awesome crust with the butter. Almost brings a tear to my eye how good this is. I know it sounds crazy, but it just works so well together. I'm totally against just throwing stuff in desserts to be different, but that's not what this is about. This is rooted in culinary tradition and time-tested flavor combinations. So don't be afraid. The food gods hate a coward. You know that, right? Go to foodwishes.com for all the ingredient amounts and lots more information as usual. And as always, enjoy